This is Tim Willis, and armed only with a copy of OBS and a built-in laptop microphone. This is another video from the Nomad Funnelhacker. We're here in the ClickFunnels editor, and I'm using the current version of ClickFunnels, formerly known as ClickFunnels 2.0, and we're going to take a look at the toolbar here at the top. Now, the funnel I have here was generated by the Smart Funnel Builder, and I have done nothing but add this logo into my workspace. And then I added it here, and at the bottom where there's another image element for the logo. Other than that, nothing is altered on this pages except this picture, which we can get rid of. Wasn't there because I used that to create the logo, which was done in the image gallery using the marketing AI tool. But for now, we're just going to concentrate on our toolbar here. Now, I do have the Barnum PT extension installed, so it's showing up there. I do recommend that you get the Barnum PT extension if you're working with ClickFunnels. It has a lot of useful functions that will help you when you're building your funnel. It has a free and a paid aspect, but the greater amount of stuff in Barnum PT is free. You'll just need to install it as an extension on your browser, either Chrome or Edge, and create an account. So if we click on that, we can see that we have a little drop down for Barnum PT. We're not really going to concern ourselves with that in this video, other than to note that it's there. Starting from the left, we have our hamburger icon, which will bring up this side panel, which allows us to move from page to page without having to actually leave the editor. And that's a nice feature to have, but most of the time it's kind of in the way, so I generally just close it out unless I need to switch to a different page. We have a name of our page. We have our profile icon. It doesn't do anything but say, hey, you're you. Again, we already talked about the Barnum icon. We have the help section, which will bring up this panel here, and you can do various things here. The most important will probably be for new users, the knowledge base. You can click that. It will take you to the ClickFunnels Help Center. And you can ask it any question you want there. Next, we have the info page. And this is going to be something that will give you warnings about things on your page if they're wrong. We have our layout page, and this gives the whole layout of everything on the page, starting from top to bottom. Now, one of the nice things about the layout is you can see as we go down, there will be a little, depending on what element you're using, outline, colored outline rather, highlighting what element you're on right now. So right now on this row, it's outlined in blue. If we go to one of the columns, or like this sub-headline, it's outlined orange, headline, outline orange. So this will help you identify what you're looking at in the layout section. We can also do certain things, like we can clone the section, in this case, look at the code, save, rename, move it up or move it down on the list. We also can choose to turn on or off either the mobile or the desktop view. If you want to have a long page, you use the layout. That's where you can find everything. Also, the layout, if you do hide a section and want to bring it back later, it's going to be the place where you're going to be able to find what's hidden and turn it back on. Next, we have the sections page, and that just brings up basically our menu of things we can install. It does have some templates here that you could use. And these are provided by ClickFunnels. Other than that, it's just kind of your starting point for a section. Most of the time, you'll probably start with a blank section, but if you want to use one of these templates and use that as a shortcut and get started, that's probably not a bad way to do things either. All right, next we have our pop-up. And so we don't have a pop-up set right now, but there's two elements to it. We can choose to show a pop-up, and we can also edit the pop-up sections. And so this is where you will do all your work on your pop-up. We have the style guide, which this will deserve its own video or set of videos, but this is how you set your colors, your fonts, other elements of your graphic style as a style guide, and then those will be the default styles and colors on your page, which you can always override. It is a handy tool for a lot of things. And it's particularly handy if you have a brand, or you're working for a client has a brand and they always have the same color, the same font, same styling, etc. That's a way you can set that in there, which is not always available in the previous version of ClickFunnels, now known as ClickFunnels Classic. On the other hand, it can be sometimes sort of a pain to set up if you're just doing a one-off project. Use your own judgment there on whether you want to use style guide or not, but that is how you access it. And then we can go to our settings. So one thing we have is the background, which is the background of our cabinets. We can turn that on so we can put an image or a background video. Or you can turn it off, it's going to be a default white background. We have our typography section, which you can set basically your font for your content, the weight, and the text color. That's sort of pulled over from ClickFunnels Classic, but truthfully, you're probably going to be using the style guide or overwriting the style guide more than you'll use that. We have the show code, which will show any code we have going on in here. And this, as I said, was made by the Smart Funnel Builder. And so it has a little bit of code there, that's CSS. You can also put in header and footer code. And each section can have its own code. So say, for example, this headline, we can go to code there and see any code. And we can also create CSS ID selectors to do certain things. And then we have the editor settings, which not much here. You set the hover time, the hover intent sensitivity. You do have something called nested collections, which are experimental, but you really don't need to do that because you now have the ability to have nested rows up here, up to 3 columns. And you also have, under your advanced section, the flex container. Really, that nested collections setting is sort of from an earlier time in ClickFunnels 2.0, before they had all that set into the main elements like our section or whatever we're looking at. But now we can actually have an element like that where we choose new element and put in our nested rows right there. So that is the overview. And then beyond that, we have the desktop view or the mobile view we switch between. And we have undo and redo buttons. We have the preview buttons, will show what the web page will look like if it were live. This one is not live, so it does have the option to view the live page. And then we have our save button. And that's pretty much it for the toolbar. That is going to be it for this video. My name is Tim Willis. I'm certified ClickFunnels Funnel Builder. I make tutorial and demonstration videos on ClickFunnels, social building, and all things related. That's it for now. I'll talk to you later.